Hello everyone, and welcome to Autocrat. This is episode 56. I'm just a goddess, standing in front of a boy.
We definitely riffed on the famous line in Notting Hill for the title of today's episode. But it's with good reason. We have a love story today.
Ooh.
Well, kind of. It's one which got less and less appealing the more I read about it. But anyway, it's technically a love story, and one which will set a course of violent events into motion. In this particular love story, we need to introduce the boy and the girl who are our protagonists. First off, the boy is Peleus, who we last talked about in the context of his being a terrible person when it came to his family.
Yeah.
The girl is Thetis, a goddess who is one of the Nereid nymphs. Now, apparently, one of her pastimes was to show up in a bay which can be found in a region called Haemonia. Apparently, she would show up naked and riding a dolphin. I don't know why.
Riding a dolphin.
Yeah, I think the context is just that it's a spot where she likes to hang out, and that was just how she turned up there, on dolphin chariot.
Sure.
Anyway, one day, Peleus came upon her there as she was fast asleep. She woke up, and Peleus, presumably madly in love and thinking that now was his chance, tried to win her over, let's say.
Okay.
Because when you come across a sleeping woman on a beach, the first thing you should absolutely do is try and proposition her. I'm just kidding, don't follow the Peleus handbook of advice.
Yeah, don't.
She said no. What do you think he did?
He insisted.
He tried to force the issue by wrapping his arms around her neck.
And asking, why would you not be interested?
She then shapeshifted into several forms, and it was only when she changed into a tiger with spots, I don't know if this means a leopard or not, that he became startled and let go of her. So this is already a really healthy interaction. Peleus wanted to fix this situation, so he asked the gods for help. A seer told him that, if he bound her while she was asleep and held on to her whatever form she took until she took her original form, he would have her. So, at sunset, Thetis appeared in the bay again. I'm not sure why she went back here. Peleus grabbed hold of her and she immediately began changing shape. However, what she didn't realise is that while she'd been asleep, Peleus had tied her down.
Alright.
He'd bound her with her hands spread apart, so she knew the gods had helped him and she turned to her original form. Peleus then impregnated her.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Like we've said before, Peleus is a surprisingly terrible person. They then became the parents of Achilles, which we introduced last episode.
Yeah.
Now, let's back up a little bit here and give some more context to this story.
Mm-hmm.
Zeus had previously wanted to sleep with Thetis because,
of course.
Yeah,
It's Zeus. He wants to sleep with everything and everyone.
yeah,
Whether they have legs or not.
pretty much. However, he didn't, and for one of several reasons.
Couldn't get it up. Common problem. One in 5 men.
Not exactly. Firstly, Prometheus may have prophesied to him that their son would be the ruler of heaven, basically supplanting him as king of the gods.
Oof.
And that wouldn't do, as we saw in episode 8.
No, that wouldn't do.
Alternatively, Thetis refused because she'd been raised by Hera. I mean, I get it, that basically makes Zeus her stepdad in a way.
Sure.
Zeus is supposed to have grumpily stated that he would shack her up with a mortal instead. Sort of the equivalent of, well, fine then. Apollodorus changes the stories of this interaction Peleus has with her slightly, so that it's the centaur Chiron advising Peleus what to do to have his way with Thetis. She then changes into fire, water, and monsters, but he doesn't let go. The story's basically the same. The two of them were married on the mountain of Pelion, and they were given wedding gifts, which are very different in terms of whether you would appreciate them or not, because Poseidon gave Peleus immortal horses as a wedding present, and Chiron gave him a spear.
Okay.
I can't find any reason why this spear is special, it's just a spear.
Maybe it's a special spear?
It might have been, maybe it had his name engraved on it, like, you know, those custom pens or what have you. This is where we get the famous story of the golden apple.
It is?
Yep, we've been building up to it for ages now, but we finally get to it. Now, Apollodorus says that Zeus is the ultimate cause of this story. Apparently, he either wanted his daughter, Helen, to be famous for entangling Europe and Asia in war, or else he wanted to make the demigods in general famous. Either way, he therefore got Eris, the goddess of strife, to help him out. Now, there is an alternative here, which Hyginus says in Fable 92, that Eris may just have done the following because she turned up late and was turned away from the wedding party. I mean, in fact, she might not even have been invited at all.
That's rude.
Yeah. Well, regardless, she took action, and that action was to throw in a golden apple, which was meant to be a prize for whoever was prettiest, with an inscription to match. Hera, Aphrodite, and Artemis knew exactly who this fairest person was. Me, they all said. And then glared at each other. They start squabbling over this apple, which probably ruined the mood at the wedding quite a bit.
I bet.
Peleus and Thetis just sat there uncomfortably at the head of the table while they start arguing. Regardless, Zeus ordered that Hermes take the three of them to Mount Ida to get a ruling as to who actually was prettiest from a third party, because he refused to have anything to do with it. I mean, I get it, that's his wife, his daughter/aunt, we're not sure which, and his actual daughter. That's going to be difficult to get away with.
I bet.
Anyway, the trio of goddesses plus Hermes arrived at Gargarus, a part of Mount Ida, to get the ruling from this third party. And I've seen on Wikipedia that this third party was chosen because of how fair he was. His bull had been in a fight with Ares' bull had won, and he'd not tried to force the issue but had given the prize to Ares without a second thought. Which just feels like basic safety. Don't argue with a god.
No, don't. Just don't.
This third party was called Paris.
Oh, that's full circle.
Yeah, it's almost like he's delivering a judgment in a way. How about we call it the Judgement of Paris? That sounds snappy.
It does.
And I'm going to leave you with that cliffhanger, because this is the decision that will cause the Trojan War.
Ooh.
So, until next time, we hope you enjoyed today's episode, and have a great week, everyone.
Have a great week, everyone.